then Fear of a Black Planet comes out.
Yeah.
Which to me is my favorite album.
Yeah.
Because
that was the curveball to the fastball.
Yeah.
Because a pitcher, you throw the fastball and everybody expected after Fight the Power that the fastball was coming.
Yeah.
And the beautiful thing is that was a hanging curve that caught you frozen at the plate. And it was probably the most fun record coming after the most intense time.
Hell of an album. Hell of an album. And that had Burn Hollywood Burn on it. I actually mixed it up with Ice Cube's album because he was on it as well. I'd forgotten he showed up on your album.
The Bomb Squad did Fear of a Black Planet, Bel Biv DeVoe, and Amerikka's Most Wanted in a 12-week period.
Right. Poison. I remember I interviewed Ricky Bell, and I had forgotten that you guys did Poison.
Yeah. And Hank and Eric and Keith put their foot in that. And I remember Hank telling me, man, I'm trying to get these guys to get that Boston accent out of their mouth.
and that was such a monumental record, by the way, Poison, because hip hop and R&B really were two very separate genres at that time. I think that was the one
They were getting closer.
They were getting closer. But that song
was
what
the
really
perfect marriage
was the bridge.
Time, but it was growing in that direction. You started having, and these guys never get their names mentioned, you guys started having guys like Vincent Davis. You familiar with Vincent Davis?
I am not.
Vincent Davis is the president CEO label brother from the Bronx, lived down the street from Chuck Chillout in the Bronx, that had Ventertainment Records. Okay. Ventertainment Records put out DJ records in the early 80s, records like 2-3 Break. You ever heard 2-3 Break?
Not really.
2-3 Break is where we acted. They had Chuck Chillout, DJ Red Alert, and they also had a couple other records in there where these guys put out DJ records. Around 87, 86, the beginnings of Public Enemy, Hank and Vincent Davis had a good relationship, and then Vincent Davis had a young guy from, I think, Bronx or Mount Vernon, where he's from, called Keith Sweat. And that's the beginning of the, gotta have a little bit of this going into your music and what's going on. It was like Keith Sweat and all that area, the Uptown with Andre Harrell, they started getting, Andre was Heavy D and a whole bunch of rappers, but it's starting to have the Teddy Riley up in there, and that was the beginning. So you had a culmination by the time you got the Poison, that you was able to do those things after the, after 88, 87, 86. It was a gradual moment. And then Hank and Eric, they just took it on out of the park with Poison.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Classic record to this day.
Yeah.
This is what, 30-something years later?
Yeah.
Well, Welcome to the Terrordome. Was that the first single? A Fear of a Black Planet?
It wasn't meant to be the first single, but it was me dropping a single that fall over looking at the summer of 89. And it was just, I took a long drive to like Eastern Pennsylvania in the middle of the night just to clear my head of all that stuff that was going on in 89. And I wrote Welcome to the Terrordome, listening to the Chuck Chillout Show.
Well, in that song, you had that one line, so-called chosen frozen.
It's not just one line. I got a lot of lines in there, Vlad. I had shooting of Huey Newton, and this is what got the record first looked at from the hand of a nigga who pulled the trig. Because Huey Newton used to call me every night.
Really? You guys had a relationship?
Okay. For up to that time, a couple of nights in 89, not all the time, about 3 or 4 times, in the middle of the night, Huey Newton would call me.
Who was one of the co-founders of the Black Panthers, for those that don't know.
Yeah.
And this was kind of in his later days.
This was in his last days.
His last days, yeah.
He had first met us coming to that Bring the Noise gig in 88. And Huey Newton was in the stands, and we noticed him. We brought him up on stage in Kaiser, up in Oakland.
People went crazy?
Yeah, I mean,
Did people know who he was by that time? Because he had
I know his neighborhood things. You got all kinds of people talking or whatever was going on, and at that particular time, it was a suspect time. What goes on, but that happens, man. It happens in Australia. It's called PTSD, man.
Right. Well, I'd also heard
suffer PTSD, and sometimes they're in the same neighborhood, and the cops were like elephants in that area. They had long memories, and they wasn't going to let that go. So not only you got problems maybe in the hood and what's going on, and maybe it's an addiction or whatever, you still have the police. And all these things were circulating around Huey Newton and his issues, but Huey would call me.
Was that the first time you used the N-word in a song?
Yo Bum Rush the Show, I had a few N-words, and Russell Simmons, of all people, said, I don't want you guys using the N-word.
Really? So you took it out.
Yo Bum Rush the Show never used the N-word.
But you used the word in that, and that was the first time I'd ever heard you use it.
Yeah.
So it may have been the first time on record.
Like I said, you don't get rid of the word. It's definitely words where it's definitely areas where it applies. The word out of context is the thing that I never approved.
Right. So you were using that as a derogatory term for the person who killed.
Yeah.
Huey P. Newton.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
I always put my words in context.
Yeah.
That's why I said even in modern days, if I happen to have the N-word come out, about 15 white people that's going to get it first.
Yeah. Well, then there's the line about Jews.
Right.
The so-called chosen frozen apology made to whoever pleases, so they got me like Jesus. What was the meaning behind that particular line? Was it the Professor Griff situation?
It was a whole situation going on, and I knew that my lyrics would be scrutinized.
Yeah.
By a whole bunch of people looking at it that didn't follow hip hop or rap. So I actually put it in there, and I said, yeah, they're looking at, still they got me like Jesus says, they're gonna look through it, they're gonna look for something, and there's nothing in this song that's gonna be talking about anybody, because I'm the guy that writes the song, and I'm the guy with the voice. Like I say, you are owner to what you think, you a slave to what you say, and you especially a slave to what you spit. So I put it there, I said, basically that was the line that says, all y'all gonna look for what you think you're gonna see in this song and find nothing, So that was that.
Hell of a song. That beat was just like
Welcome to Terrordome. If I had to say the song that fits me the best, that is my turbulence in my career over 33 and a third years, is Welcome to Terrordome, because it came at a time that I knew that when I come out of it, I'm gonna be stronger than ever.
Right. 911's a Joke is on that album also.
I gave Flav a title. I said, do you got a job to do, bro? Like I said, no different than right now. Gave him the title, come back next year with writing about this. And he came back and knocked it out the park. It was let me tell you, 911 is a Joke was the first time I felt I had a break after 2-3 years of push, hard. And when we came up with 911 is a Joke, because it had to be, I'm coming out with Terrordome in October, and we're going to come out with Fear of a Black Planet, and Flavor came back, and Keith and Eric just put their foot into that, and it was funky. And and I went in there, matter of fact, my nieces were on the record, they're the ones who were ow, and also I went in there and also co-produced with them. And I was so proud of Flavor. And the record was, I wanted his you need ego. In hip hop, you need ego. I wanted his ego to have something that match it. I mean, one time, I was tired. This is when my kids were, my oldest daughter was young, the one that runs my company now. And I was tired. And we had this gig with Downtown Julie Brown, man. And I was like, yo, man, I'm beat. I can't go down, man. I slept, I felt, and I turned on I woke up and turned on TV, and there was Flavor and two S1s getting out TV. I was like, oh, thank you, God. And Flavor just went and did the gig, and it was great. I said, man, and same thing with the video, man. The video was, because I always hated doing videos. I hate being on camera.
You weren't in that video, right?
I'm at the end.
Oh, at the end.
Jay is in it, Jam Master Jay. I was in the end, I'm just walking through.
Right.
I said, just the easiest video. Because I hate being on camera. I hate pictures. I hate being filmed. I hate videos. I hate all those things. I like to be heard, not seen. And this is what people are like, oh man, it seems like you work so well on film. That's why you didn't see me in many of any movies.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I don't do that. I mean, yes, my mother had the Roosevelt Community Theater. She formed it. We did everything from stage management, acting, all that stuff. But when movies came about, I had too much respect for the thespians, man. And I said, you know what, man? I gotta make my area great. So what the movie is over here, and they got all this money. Let me make my area great, because These people are standing out online with scripts, standing out online just to get bit parts. And I'm gonna take my rapper ass and be up in, I'm just like, these people trying to do that. And I'm saying, take care of our own house. And for years, I would see people like, it's like, it's made out of the same bricks. But let's not treat our situation like the slum, looking at that as a palace. Hip hop, to me, there was enough to make our palace. Look at the film industry, the NBA, the rock stars, and look at our own industry as something to be envious over. Because they was always envious over our thunder. And then they all assumed our thunder. Like, okay, we're gonna come in a rap swagger kind of way. So the film industry comes up because they appropriate, hip hop in their way. Rock does it in a way that we're influential in helping that. And also the NBA. Well, so today you have a guy like a fantastic rapper, Damian Lillard. Dude is just, he grows up in a period where they're all the same thing.
Yeah.
We did the soundtrack scoring to Juice.
Juice.
That was the first scoring / soundtrack.
Okay.
Hank and Gary G. Wiz did that.
Okay. But
they're the ones that
you guys didn't do anything for New Jack City?
Songs in there.
Songs,
but the soundtrack for Juice was a groundbreaking soundtrack.
Oh yeah. Know the Ledge and
groundbreaking sound, but not just soundtrack, score.
Yeah.
Difference. So the score,
it was a hip hop score.
The score that actually, the placement that we put Cypress Hill, How I Could Kill a Man, boosted that record from a little bit of obscurity into being a main thing.
Yeah. I mean, I was already a huge fan of that song. So when that elevator scene come up, I'm like, I know that song.
And that scene blew it out. You can ask Be Real to this day. And I say, I remember coming in the room, because I didn't do that. I didn't do that none of the work. Matter of fact, I'm not even on it, but it's in the room. It's in the next room. So you see Gary G. Wiz and Hank Stockley working on this thing. You see a time code, and you're hearing this shit for like 3 days. And so, that's, I was close to that creativity. I'm the person that's going to tell you exactly what happened without taking credit. I will tell you, that happened.
Yeah.
Was I involved in it?
No.
No, I was in the peripheral of it.
Yeah.
I cannot take credit for that work of genius.